Milk Minute.
Hello everyone, my name is Arnel Batilong, a religious missionary priest. I would like to share to you about self-awareness and emotions and their impact in our daily life. When I was in fourth year high school, there was a saying by an anonymous author which is attached on the wall of our classroom. It says, "No one can teach us unless we want to learn. No one can change us unless we want to change. To grow or not is a personal decision." Yes, our willingness and our openness to learn and to change is the beginning of our growth. May it be physical, intellectual, emotional, psychological, or spiritual growth. One of the most important steps toward positive change and growth is self-awareness. And self-awareness is not an easy task to do. It is a lifelong process. We need to see ourselves and know ourselves more clearly and objectively. Our self-awareness may be hindered by our irrational thoughts, belief system, habits, impulses, behaviors, which were formed in the early stage of our life. In order to eradicate them little by little, all these blockages, it demands lots of focusing, truthful journey inward, and being grounded in the present. In school, we usually focus on the intellectual aspect of the students. However, studies have proven that those who have high EQ or emotional quotient are more successful and happier in their lives than those who have high IQ or intelligence quotient. Our emotions are very important aspect of our lives. If we are aware of them, if we are capable of naming them and expressing them in a constructive way, we will be living in a peaceful and harmonious life. Even negative emotions like anger, fear, anxiety, guilt, or shame could be helpful for our growth if we know how to manage and express them in a constructive way. In order to be aware of them, we need to listen to our emotions, feel them, and fathom the message they would like to tell us. Like for example, if you feel anxious when you give a speech, your anxiety is telling you to prepare ahead of time and to practice your speech. If you are afraid to fail your exam, your fear is telling you to study hard. If you are angry to someone because he or she has betrayed you or cheated on you, your anger is telling you to assert yourself, to tell him or her what you feel in a constructive way. In that way, you are not only helping him or her, but also you are helping yourself. Many of our illnesses are caused by our unexpressed feelings and emotions. We call them psychosomatic illnesses. Cancer, high blood pressure, skin diseases, allergies, ulcers are oftentimes due to our unexpressed negative emotions. The same thing with those who are suffering from psychological disorders, depression, aggressiveness, etc. These are consequences of unexpressed and unmanaged emotions. The awareness of our feelings and emotions to express, own, and manage them properly will help us to be more compassionate, caring, forgiving, and loving towards ourselves and towards others. In order to do this, we need to go deeper into our unconscious self. With that, we will enjoy our journey towards a better, happy, and meaningful life. Thank you.
Senior High School on Air.
Senior High School on Air. The front line of quality and excellent learning.
Excellent learning. You have all the best of the best.
Best of the best of the best.
Madaling umaga, handa na ba kayong matuto?
Handa na po.
Reading and writing.
Pagbasa at pagsusuri ng teksto tungo sa pananaliksik.
Practical research 1.
English for academic and professional purposes.
Ability and statistics.
General biology 2.
Disciplines and ideas in applied social sciences.
Cookery and more.
Senior high school best of the best.
Best of the best of the best.
Good day, my dear learners. I hope that all is well with you and your family. Are you excited for today? I bet you are, because finally, we are down with the last topic in the subject Introduction to Philosophy of the Human Person for the school year 2020-2021. Isn't that amazing? There may be trials in learning in the new normal of education, but you were able to surpass these challenges and accepted the radio-based instruction by Radyo Eskwela sa Isabela. Your hardships has finally paid off. Let me introduce myself. I am Sir Jeremy Hilbaliga, your radio teacher for today. Get ready for this episode and give all your best to learn from this learning session.
Halina't matuto, gamit ang ating radyo. Pakinggan at unawain, aralin na ituturo. Patuloy ang edukasyon para sa ating henerasyon. Sa daan ng pagkatuto ay walang maiiwan. Kaya halina sa Radyo Eskwela.
Here are a few reminders before we start this learning session. Since our session can be heard through the Facebook page, Radyo Eskwela sa Isabela, make sure that your device can reach a good signal. That place should be comfortable for learning so you will be comprehend the lesson well. Additionally, prepare your learning materials for this session, such as your notebook, journal, and pens, where you can write your answers and reflections. And last but not least, listen attentively, because listening is an effective way to learn and grow. Are you all set up now? That's great! Let's have a recap of the last lesson. In the last episode, you have learned how to make choices and spend your life well. Why is this important again, my dear learners? That's right, because we are not being who exist permanently for eternity. The temporal existence of a person means his or her life is temporary. Then, what does the truth challenges us to do? Very good. Temporarily challenges us to make choices that will be good for us and the people around us. It must also be noted that since we have a body, we are always in the moment, we exist in the here and now. We also learned that whenever we make a choice, we cannot undo that choice because the present moment has now gone into the past. Also, you also give terms terminus and tellus when talk about the term end. What is terminus again? Correct, it means full stop or end of life. How about tellus? Definitely, this means goal, purpose, or fulfillment. Good job! What a great episode you had last week. I hope that you will apply the things that you have learned from that learning session.
Tayo na sa Radyo Eskwela. Tayo na!
We can now proceed to our new lesson. Today, we are going to talk about the meaning of life. Let us have a pre-test before we start our discussion. All you need to do is write true if the statement is correct and false if the statement is wrong. Please write your answer on a piece of paper. Again, write true if the statement is correct and false if the statement is wrong. Please write your answers on a piece of paper. Number 1, happiness is an achievement that it must be gained by living a productive and moral life. I'll repeat, happiness is an achievement and it must be gained by living a productive and moral life. Let's proceed to number 2. A noble good is considered good so long as it serves to an end. I'll repeat, a noble good is considered good so long as it served to an end. Number 3. Physical suffering are sensations such as depression and anxiety. I'll repeat, physical suffering are sensations such as depression and anxiety. Number 4. Suffering takes place when we patiently endure unpleasantness, discomfort, and pain. I'll repeat, suffering takes place when we patiently endure unpleasantness, discomfort, and pain. And number 5, human persons normally experience difficulties in life. I'll repeat, the human person normally experiences difficulties in life. Now, let's check the answers. For number 1, it is true. Number 2, false. Number 3, it's also false. Number 4 and number 5 are true. I'll repeat, number 1 is true. Number 2 is false. Number 3 is false. Number 4 and number 5 is true. Did you get a perfect score? Well, that's amazing. That means you are ready to learn the meaning of life. But before we go further in this topic, let us listen to this infomercial.
Taho! Taho kayo dyan! Di makatulog sa gabi sa kaiisip, damdamin ko'y mayroong lungkot hanggang sa panaginip. Oh, Berto, di ka ba nakatulog kagabi? Hindi nga ho, Kuya Pekto. Dala ho siguro ng lungkot ng pag-iisa dito sa bahay. Di ho kasi makalabas dahil sa COVID-19. Hay. Berto, may 3 bagay na dapat kang tandaan para maiwasan ng lungkot sa mga ganitong sitwasyon. Una, alamin ang dahilan ng iyong kalungkutan. Pangalawa, maaaring ipabatid ang iyong nararanasan sa mga taong malalapit sa iyo. Nariyan ang internet para makausap mo sila. At ang pangatlo, ilaan mo ang iyong oras sa mga bagay na ikaw ay magiging abala. Hindi lang pisikal na kalusugan ang mahalaga, Perto, pati pang kaisipan rin. Tatandaan ko yan, Kuya Pekto. Maraming salamat sa payo. Isang paalala mula sa kagawaran ng edukasyon at ng himpilang ito.
Welcome back, my dear learners. We can now go on with the topic. I have a question, my dear learners. Have you ever pondered about the true meaning of life? They say we should live a life to the fullest. Can you say that you are living your life to the full? Do you even know what does living life to the full means? Or are you making your life meaningful? Let us try to find the answers to those questions. The human person is not born into this world just so he or she could die. Man is put onto this earth to live a meaningful life, to be virtuous, and achieve excellence. With this in mind, we can look at 2 experiences which makes us reflect on the meaning of life. These are happiness and suffering. In your words, can you define happiness and suffering? Please write your answers in your notebook.
Halina't matuto, gamit ang ating radyo. Pakinggan at unawain, aralin na ituturo. Patuloy ang edukasyon para sa ating henerasyon. Sa daan ng pagkatuto ay walang maiiwan. Kaya halina sa Radyo Eskwela.
Thank you, my dear learners. Your subject teacher will read your answers as soon as you pass your outputs. What makes you happy? Is it the food that you eat? The clothes that you wear? The gadgets you own? The achievements you reap as a student? Or the moment you spend with your family and friends? Ancient Greek philosophy considers happiness as an achievement, and it must be gained by living a productive and moral life. Religious philosophers consider happiness as a union with God. Other contemporary views define happiness as whole life satisfaction based on our evaluation of overall life experiences. Ethics plays a significant role in defining the means to achieve happiness. Various philosophical views emphasize the importance of setting worthwhile goals in life to achieve personal happiness. We should not only concern about our own happiness, but also the well-being of others. For example, getting high grades cannot only make you happy, but also your parents and teachers. Considering other people's happiness has a social element. What makes a person happy is that which fits his nature. We are made truly happy by things that are true and good. What is false and evil does not make a person happy. As an embodied spirit, we must also consider the goods of our sources of happiness which are proper to a person. These are noble good, useful good, and pleasurable good. Can you enumerate it again? Alright, noble good is one which is pursued for its own sake. It is good in itself. Love and friendship are some examples. On the other hand, useful goods serves as a means to an end. Its goodness is found only from what it can provide. For example, money is good as it can buy you something. Finally, a pleasurable good is a good so long as it provides some form of pleasure, though it does not have to be physical. It must be understood that a specific good cannot be categorized strictly under one kind. For example, friendship may be a noble good because it is a good to be a friend to someone. However, pursuing it with incorrect intentions, example, befriending someone for academic or career advancement makes it only a useful good. The kind of happiness that can be gained from good is also closely tied to its nature. For example, material things may satisfy bodily needs and can somehow make a person happy, but they cannot provide permanent happiness because what is material will fade over time. Friendship is a noble good and definitely provides a more permanent kind of happiness. Real happiness can be found in more permanent and meaningful things. Now, let's discuss the term suffering. When was the last time you experienced suffering? What is the reason behind it? How did you overcome it? Suffering takes place when we patiently endure unpleasantness, discomfort, and pain. It can come in a form of physical suffering and mental suffering. Physical suffering is when we experience physical sensations such as discomfort, hunger, distress, and pain. These are often caused by injury, disease, and lack of basic needs. On the other hand, mental suffering involves emotional and mental states such as depression, anxiety, fear, loneliness, and grief. These may be caused by an unexpected situation in life such as sudden change in lifestyle, loss of employment, stressful situations, and grief caused by death of a loved one. These things are not new to us nowadays since a lot of people suffered because of the coronavirus pandemic. But even without or before the pandemic, as humans, normally we experience difficulties in life. And how we deal with them is often determined by our mindset regarding suffering. Generally, suffering is viewed as an undesirable condition, and that we naturally seek pleasure and avoid pain. Those who adopt this perspective often focus on the various means to avoid suffering or eliminate it entirely from life. Without it, we are unable to grow and improve, and our positive experiences lose meaning and significance. We should accept that as we continue to live here on Earth, suffering will not stop and negative experiences are part of our lives. We can never escape suffering, but we can be prepared to deal with it so we can overcome it. Let us remember that difficulties happens for a reason. Suffering can bring about good things even if we do not fully understand our circumstances at present. More often, hardships bring about realizations and opportunities for us. Even if the outcome of difficulty is unfavorable, dealing with suffering can improve our attitude towards life and other people. Now that you know about the experience of happiness and suffering, how do you think happiness, suffering, and death give meaning to your life? As we approach our death, we experience both happiness and suffering. Although these are distinct experiences, the two are not really meant to be complete opposite. For there may be instances when they enrich one another. The pursuit of happiness requires that we go through the effort to achieve it. Our efforts are often marked by difficulties and discouragement. I want you to reflect on something, my dear learners. Look back at an achievement in your life which you considered your most significant triumph. For example, you passed your practical research subject. The victory was coupled with trials and difficulties such as problem and thinking of a research title, gathering data, and find sources. But that victory was made more significant and sweeter by the fact that you were able to surmount the challenges you faced. If you're willing to suffer through adversities and maybe even suffer cheerfully, it makes the pursuit of happiness even more worthwhile. We not only attain happiness that we want, but we also become better persons in the process. The reality of death means that our existence is unique and that we will not always get another chance to do the things that we want in this life. Therefore, we should not easily give up on the pursuit of good things. We should make this life given to us meaningful while we can, and to make other people also realize the true meaning of life. Since we have the tendency to form relationship with others, let us live in unity and harmony with them. We have an opportunity not only to enrich our lives but also to touch the lives of others. Although we are different from each other, we are all made to love and serve one another. People can become truly great when they live for people other than themselves. Just like Mother Teresa, she became famous as a Catholic nun who dedicated her life to caring for the destitute and dying in the slums of Calcutta. We can strive to leave behind a legacy either in front of an inheritance, a reputation, or a significant achievement. If you were able to finish your studies and graduate, your achievement can not just make your life change but also your family. When we have genuine relationship with others, we not only share in each other's happiness, but we also bring happiness with others. Also, when a person passes away, he or she continues to live on because a part of that person is now with us. We eventually become part of someone else's life, and we can live on in them in the same way that those whom we hold dear live on in our lives. Because of our freedom, how we decide to carry on with our lives is altogether dependent upon us. Against the setting of death, we are called our freedom in the most ideal manner conceivable to carry us nearer to our happiness and bring happiness to others also. Our lives are works in progress, stories during time spent being composed, and melodies that are going to be sung. Life is a gift given to every individual, and it is important to transform this life into a present for others also.
Tayo na sa Radyo Eskwela. Tayo na!
And that ends our lesson for today. Now, to summarize the lesson, let us remember that happiness is a state of being and not just an emotional experience or a chosen mental attitude. Now, what are the three kinds of goods or source of happiness again, my dear learners? Very good. We have the noble good, useful good, and pleasurable good. On the other hand, suffering takes place when we patiently endure unpleasantness, discomfort, and pain. What are the two forms of suffering, my dear learners? You're right. Physical and mental suffering. Good job! I'm sure you learned a lot from this topic and realized something about the meaning of life.
Gusto ko nang mag-aral, gusto ko nang bumalik sa paaralan. Ngunit paano ang gagawin kung may virus pa rin? Manatili sa inyong tahanan, wag na wag pairalin ang sariling karunungan. Magtiwala sa batas ng inyong bansa at nang ikaw ay hindi nawawala. Gusto ko nang lumabas, pero ay bawal pala ikaw lumabas. Bawal lumabas, bawal lumabas, bawal lumabas, bawal lumabas. Manatili sa iyong tahanan para ikaw ay ligtas. kagawaran ng edukasyon ay naghahanda na para sa ligtas na pagbubukas ng klase. Mga mag-aaral, kahit nasa tahanan lamang, ang edukasyon ay maihahatid ng may kaligtasan. Isang paalala mula sa kagawaran ng edukasyon at sa himpilang ito.
Now, let us assess how much you understand the lesson for today through a quiz. I will give you 5 questions. Choose the correct answer and write the letter on your paper. Let's begin. Number 1. It is a kind of good that is pursued for its own sake. I'll repeat. It is a kind of good that is pursued for its own sake. Letter A. Noble good. Letter B. Pleasurable good. And letter C. Useful good. For the choices, A. Noble good, B. Pleasurable good, or letter C. Useful good. Let's proceed to number 2. It is a kind of good so long that it provides some pleasure. I'll repeat for number 2. It is a kind of good so long that it provides some pleasure. Letter A. Noble good. Letter B. Pleasurable good. And letter C. Useful good. For the choices again, letter A, noble good, letter B, pleasurable good, and letter C, useful good. Let's proceed to number 3. According to religious philosophers, it is a union with God. I'll repeat for number 3. According to religious philosophers, it is a union with God. A, freedom. Letter B, suffering. Letter C, happiness. For the choices again, A. Freedom, B. Suffering, and letter C. Happiness. Now we move on to number 4. It is a kind of suffering that includes depression, anxiety, fear, loneliness, and grief. I'll repeat for number 4. It is a kind of suffering that includes depression, anxiety, fear, loneliness, and grief. Letter A. Physical. B. Mental. Letter C. Virtual. For the choices again, letter A. Physical. Letter B. Mental. Or letter C. Virtual. Now, for number 5, it is a kind of suffering that refers to discomfort, hunger, stress, and pain. I'll repeat. It is a kind of suffering that refers to discomfort, hunger, stress, and pain. A. Physical. B. Mental. Letter C. Virtual. Again for the choices, letter A. Physical. B. Mental. C. Virtual. Are you done answering your quiz, my dear learners? I will give you a time to finalize your answer.
Gamit ang ating radyo, pakinggan at unawain, aralin na ituturo. Patuloy ang edukasyon para sa ating henerasyon. Sa daan ng pagkatuto ay walang maiiwan. Kaya halina sa Radyo Eskwela.
And pens up, that ends our quiz for this episode. Great job, you guys. Now, let me give you the answer. Number 1, the answer is letter A. Again, it's letter A. For number 2, we have B. The answer is B. Number 3, C is the answer. I'll repeat for number 3, C is the answer. How about number 4? That's right. The answer is letter B. Number 5, the answer is letter A. Again, for number 5, the answer is letter A. Did you got a perfect score? Well, that's amazing. Now, let us have another activity. Draw a symbol of your idea of a meaningful life and explain the symbol. Make this on your notebook. I'll repeat. Draw a symbol of your idea of a meaningful life and explain this symbol. Make this in your notebook. Did you get that, my dear learners? That's great. I'm excited to see your drawings. Now we're down to the last part of this episode. It has been an amazing day with you here in Radyo Eskwela sa Isabela. Thank you for listening and staying with me throughout the broadcast of this lesson. And thank you for supporting Radyo Eskwela sa Isabela. I am proud of you all because you surpassed the hardships of the new normal education. Please inform your teacher if you have any questions or clarifications about this episode. And for the checking of your notebooks and journal, please drop it to the designated drop box found in your barangay hall or give your envelopes to your school advisors through your parents or guardian. Please observe the health protocols in doing so. That's all, my dear learners, but before I end this session, let me leave you with this quote from Mae West. You only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough. On behalf of our scriptwriter, Ma'am Maria Jamila Pua, and the whole RBI production team, I am Sir Jeremy Tamayo Hilpaliga, your radio teacher. Goodbye everyone, and God bless. Until next time.
Patuloy ang edukasyon para sa ating henerasyon.
Sa daan ng pagkatuto ay walang may iwan.
Kaya halina sa Radyo Eskwela!